Today we're joined by Scott Lavergne with EDC. EDC is our managed service provider, and they've been working with Pharma-Safe for many years to support our needs as they've grown on the IT side. Scott, it's good to have you here today.
Glad to be here.
Scott, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you first decided to be in managed services, or how your business kind of gravitated towards that?
Certainly, yeah. So I graduated from UL with a computer science degree and started doing computer work on the side, which is how a lot of how that was in the 90s. You just knew a guy who knew computers and they would go work on your computers. And from there, when I graduated college, we just kept on growing the business. And everything back then was hourly. Everything was, we're going to pay you for every minute you work. And kept on hearing about this managed services thing. And people were saying that it was so much better for us because it would levelize our billing. But I didn't want to do something just because it was better for me. And when we expanded to New Orleans, when we expanded to the New Orleans area, we couldn't sell hourly services over there. They only wanted managed services. So we sold our first managed client there and discovered it was actually better for me and for the customer. And the main difference is our technicians are not salesmen. So they're not good at selling you on why you need a firmware upgrade or why you need a new router, where we can just bundle that in managed services and we can fix the problems before they happen. And it makes the stress level go down on both sides. So we started moving everybody to managed services, and it's been wonderful. It's really a great way to provide IT services in a way that makes it a true partnership where we're looking out and we can do whatever we feel is right without having to try to talk someone into spending $100 on something that they may not want to spend at that moment. It's all just bundled in. They already paid for it. We're good to go.
Yeah, that works well. I know our IT needs have changed significantly over the years, and we have, I guess, what you call a blended model. We have an in-house IT person, and we have you guys as managed services. And those two things blended together with kind of a bridging document that says, we're going to do this, you're going to handle this in-house, and if it's a project, then we work together to make sure it's managed correctly. For the bulk of your clients, how has the IT needs changed since you've been in business?
Oh, they've changed quite a bit. As I mentioned, we were first hourly, and it was all servers and computers, workstations, and now we have a lot of cloud. We have a lot of roving remote workers. Things have, obviously IT is continually changing and growing. So kind of like with you guys, when we all started with us, we were handling all your IT. We moved to a model called co-managed, where we take all our expertise and we help manage your IT with the assistance of in-house employees. And it's a great way to scale because you can hire the person that satisfies all the majority of your needs. And for that one-off need you have, or there's some expertise required that you really don't want to pay for in-house year-round, we can come in and step and support and help your in-house staff do whatever they need. So co-managed has been a great way to keep the relationships with clients as they grow and as their needs exceed the demands of having just us doing all the IT for them.
Yeah, it works well for us. Many years ago, IT for us was just a server for files and keep my email up and running. Now it's gotten really complicated. There's a bunch of different layers. What kind of advice can you give to a small company that realizes it's important, but there's no visibility of all the different layers behind the scenes? It's extremely complicated and hard to understand. We have an in-house guy, Andre Clay, who does an amazing job, but quite often he explains stuff to us about the problem with this, why my computer won't work. And we don't even understand what he's talking about because it's so complicated and there's different layers, and this doesn't work because this doesn't talk to this. So for a small company that really doesn't know all those things, what are the biggest, I guess, failures or mistakes that a smaller company will make that's maybe hadn't engaged a company like yourself that's causing them problems?
I think the biggest mistake most smaller companies make is they don't realize that even though they're small, they have almost all the same problems as the larger companies. And I hear we're too small to have a concern about a hacker going after us. That's not the case. We're too small to worry about having this level of security in place. We'll worry about that later, and that's usually not the case. So the benefit of cloud and the benefit of the advances they have made is that these small companies now have access to very expensive software that they used to not have access to. For example, 20 years ago, I'd seen clients pay $15,000, $20,000 for a software package to get it in-house. And now that same package is available for, let's say, $50 a user per month, which makes it really accessible to the smaller customers. And so now they're able to take advantage of that. And so the important thing is they take advantage of that, and they turn on all the security features the big guys are using, and they turn on all the, are concerned about the same thing the big guys are using, because it's all the same playing field.
Very cool. For us, one of the big changes was we used to not put IT on the front end of any business decision. It was more on financial concerns, the ability to execute the project. Now, and we went through a learning curve where we did not do this, but now we put IT on the front end of everything we do, and we involve Andre on the front end to make sure whatever little small decision somebody in operations is making, it doesn't impact us down the road. We paid the price for that several times with mistakes where people just went out on their own, engaged in something, paid a small fee, started using something, and it caused major problems for us. So that's probably, I guess, app creep or whatever you want to call it. There's a term for that where you just keep adding stuff, and eventually it causes IT problems because they don't talk to each other, and you end up having a bunch of siloed operations that can't talk, and it becomes an inefficient. It creates what we call around here a hidden factory, where a person has to do a workaround. They have to use this program, dump it into a spreadsheet, pull it over here, and do some manual work. Huge inefficiency. So we're trying very hard not to do that anymore. Is that a common problem?
We've seen it a lot. We have rogue users who will go and start using applications without talking to IT or talking to who's providing the IT, not fully understanding the full consequences of their actions. A good example is recently, AI has become very popular, and there's a lot of free AI tools that will document your meetings and transcribe things. If you read the terms of service on the free tools, that data that gets put into that free AI tool is their use. They're allowed to own that data. And so it's a huge security risk. If you use the paid version, the user agreement changes to where that data is now private. But the free one, you're the product. So users that just go get these free tools and start recording meetings, they're actually exposing all that meeting data to the public in general, basically. And so that's a good example of a rogue user using a new tool, using something without checking with IT first, and not understanding the full consequences of what their actions are.
Something I've experienced personally is I've been in meetings, not for Pharma-Safe, but other meetings, organizations I belong to, different company meetings, pre-job meetings, and I find out after the fact somebody used a AI recording tool and they recorded the meeting, but they started recording before the meeting ever started. So what they picked up was a bunch of extemporaneous conversation amongst people at tables that had nothing to do with the meeting. The people were talking about phishing and family and maybe things they shouldn't have been talking about. And that was all in the notes. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people realize that's going on a, I guess, ubiquitous level. And now I saw an advertisement this week where it's almost like the cameras the police have on them. Mm-hmm. It's a little pendant you wear around your neck, mm-hmm. and you put it on the inside of your shirt like if you're hanging a chain or a cross around your neck, and it stays on you, and it records your whole day. Mm-hmm. Everything you say, everything you do. That's a little scary to me, to where you're in the grocery store and people are, recording conversations around you, and once like you said, that's not secure. That can become public information.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's definitely a concern. And I've seen it to where people will join a Teams meeting, and then their note taker will start joining the meeting without them. And, so I personally always kick those out of the meetings because, if they're not there in person, right. I don't want those notes to get out. But yeah, that's definitely something where this is just something, the new reality we're in, is that the information is readily available, easily accessible. easily processed and available to easily searched by other people.
Let's talk a little bit about security. There's a lot of different security risks. We have a security training that comes out each week that our employees that in the office are expected to do. What are the new risks? And I guess the question is, are these the same risks that put on different clothes? Or what are the new risks or the most, I guess the most popular is probably not the right word, but the most popular risk or the most prevalent risk that are going around right now to people?
The biggest risk we've seen, and we've actually helped multiple companies who lost $500,000 each through this action, has been what we call cognitive security, where they're able to trick the employee into doing something for them. And this is done, we call it social engineering originally, but now it's kind of focusing on the mechanism where we need to build up our cognitive security, protect ourselves that way. The employees always have to have access to everything. They need to be able to access to do their job and to get their work done. And they're easily fooled sometimes. So the trainings are super important to make sure that they don't fall for these kind of hoaxes. The things that I've seen also have been that passwords really are not, a single password is just not secure anymore. They're able to get broken quite easily. Multi-factor is obviously necessary. The multi-factor holding the token is not secure anymore. So it's constantly a moving target to protect yourself. And the goal that we've seen for the hackers has been to get into your mailbox, to learn about you, and then to trick you into sending them some money. That's been the most successful hacks we've seen across the board. They get into a bookkeeper's account, and then that bookkeeper they'll send all the customers and say, hey, we have a new direct deposit account. Please use this from now on. And your customers are sending their payments to the hackers. We've seen them redirect insurance payments, all kind of different things. And how EDC prevents it, how we work on that is we have tools monitoring access to mailboxes and looking for suspicious behaviors. And unfortunately, that's an after the fact thing, but that's all we can really do. Once we suspect the hacker got into their mailbox because the user gave them a username and password and multi-factor, we've seen that before where they gave them the keys of the kingdom. The hacker gets in their mailbox, they turn off the security they need to turn off to stay in their mailbox. And at that point, we know they're in the mailbox and we lock them out. But the companies I've seen lose money their IT didn't have those kind of monitoring set up. And so the hacker stayed in their mailbox for months, was able to trick the employee into sending millions of dollars at times to the bad guys.
Yeah, we had that happen one time. It was actually pretty impressive. Our CFO received an email from one of the owners to wire some money to a place, and the email had copied the other owner and myself, which is the exact path we would have taken if it was an actual event or task we wanted her to do. And something just didn't look right about it for Kelly, and she kind of raised a red flag and we were able to catch it. But it was beautifully done. Mm-hmm. They know what they're doing, and they're actually usually one step ahead of the people, wherever they get in. But
we've even seen them have a conversation where they brought up things like, oh, how was your son's Little League game? Where they had read all the person's email and knew what was going on in their life to be able to fool the other person, thinking that they were the live person they're talking to.
Before they hit the call to action. That's funny. Scott, with the continually evolving software arena, how would you suggest a small or medium-sized company continues to evaluate options but keeps their stuff secure? Because there's always a newer widget. People are always calling about this that does this, and you can't try them all, but when you engage them, you're kind of opening the door a little bit. So how does that process work for you? What's your best practices on that?
For us, really for any security, I think that's best to, if you're small, to outsource it to somebody that can have a dedicated security person. At EDC, I have dedicated security people. That's all they do. They are up to date on what the most recent risks are. And so in this scenario, let's say Andre wanted to add a tool to the network, and he says, let me check with EDC. Let me see if there's any security concerns. Let our guys review it. They're going to go way faster. They're going to know what to look for, and they're going to come back and say, this is where there's some concerns are. This is where your risk could be. I see a hard time with companies sub, 200-300 employees having an in-house security person on staff.
Right.
Our guys go to trainings, they go to courses year round. They're constantly keeping up with it because it just changes so quickly. And so that burden goes on us, and we share it among all our customers. We maintain over 1,600 endpoints, so it's a lot larger. If you look at it as an organization as a whole, it's a lot larger, and we have the resources to be able to do that. But it's so changing. It's hard to say like one person, like what tips you could do internally. I would say outsource it.
Outsource this and let the experts do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You touched on earlier the amount of remote work and kind of austere environments some people work in. We have guys that work offshore on platforms. Everybody has apps and email on their phones, and they interact on their phones. With all those additional devices having access to email and other platforms, how do you protect against all those access points? We can do a pretty good job of protecting what's physically here,
mm-hmm.
but it's in the cloud. An employee's got an email address and a password, and they put it on their phone or their personal computer, and they're somewhere else. How does that make it more complex?
That's a good question, and that's where we see networks going right now. So basically, we're looking at shifting to a design to where we're protecting each computer individually. It doesn't matter if you're inside the office. It doesn't matter if you're outside the office. One of my friends who has an IT company in California, I was there visiting, and his Wi-Fi password was pretty weak. It wasn't that spectacular. And he just gave me the password. I got in. I'm like realizing why he's really big on security. Why is it weak? And then I realized he doesn't care if you're in his network, because his network has nothing to share. It's just basically a public Wi-Fi access point for his staff to use. And the security exists on the computer in the cloud devices that they connect to. And he doesn't care if anybody gets in his network, because all they can do is just get to the internet. There's nothing there, no extra privileges they get, nothing they can hack. Everything's locked down to the point where it's all, thinking that each computer is always on the cloud in a public arena. And I really think that's where networks are going to be going to. It's a lot easier just to say, this is how we set up everything. This is our single source, our single standard configuration for all the computers, and they're secure whether they're in. I went to a Best Western in California. I was visiting them, and my computer automatically joined to the network. I'd been there 5 years prior, and then it asked me if I wanted to stream to multiple TVs on the network as well. So obviously this thing was extremely unsecure.
Yeah. And
so it doesn't matter if you're connecting to something like that or you're in the most secure environment, your computer is going to get your work done, and you're also going to be safe.
That's a great analogy. Scott, EDC has supported Pharma-Safe for a long time, and many companies. You've been in business how many years?
25 this year.
Yeah, we've been in business 27. It's great to see long-term resilience. What do you attribute your long-term resilience to, and your retaining of long-term customers like us?
That's a good question. So we always focus first on just retaining business. Is we always have to be learning and growing. We live in an industry that grows quickly, changes quickly, as do y'all with medical and everything y'all provide. So we're always changing, always looking for what's over the horizon, always pushing ourselves to exceed and improve. I started out with one customer 25 years ago, and that customer was 80% of my revenue that first year. And they are still my customer 25 years later. And they represent, I think, last time I checked, 12% of my revenue. So we have kept up with them. They grew really large, and I was constantly struggling to keep up with them. And I like the challenge. And so I'm always looking to stay ahead of my customers so that way I can keep and grow with them. We were just in the process of implementing co-managed when y'all got to the point where y'all were looking to hire in-house. Mm-hmm. And we had already studied up on it. We checked up with other members of my peer group that were doing it and figured out how we were going to implement it. And so when you guys came to us and said, we want to hire someone in-house, great, we were ready for that. We were able to, we worked and kind of facilitated as much as we could with get Andre caught to speed. And now he's doing an amazing job. And we're able to we sit back and look at where we can fill in the gaps. So we just try to, on one hand, try to keep up with it and try to make sure that we can keep up with the growth that you guys are doing. And on the other hand, it's all about honesty, integrity, and building that relationship. You guys are really open to suggestions from us, which is great. That's something really important for businesses to listen to their experts they're hiring, and take our advice, because that's what you're paying us for. And that makes it easy for us to work with you. And then at the same time, we hope that we are open to any advice you give us back on any corrections. We're always asking, how can we do better? We have a lot of, we call it CSAT, customer satisfaction, that we send out. We're constantly taking that advice, constantly trying to improve, because no one knows everything. And it's always good to listen to what people see and make adjustments and corrections for that.
What we've really appreciated is Pharma-Safe is in the oil and gas industry. And as you know, it ebbs and flows. And then sometimes it's your best friend and sometimes it's a fickle you-know-what. You guys have been very acceptable and amenable to the ebbs and flows of our business. Mm-hmm. And y'all have shrunk and grown with us over the years. And I can't tell you how important that is for us to know that we have a strategic partner like you guys that we can go sit down with and say, listen, this just happened. We didn't expect it. Let's sharpen our pencil for a while, and then we'll fix things when things return. And y'all have always done that. The other part that really impresses me about EDC is the homegrown aspect of your team. You have a wonderful team, and some of the leaders in your organization started off as call takers, receptionists, troubleshooters. Tell me about how you did that as a company. And you and I both know that we really enjoy the EOS system. And tell me how you did that as a company, and how has that created stability for your team, which transfers to stability and comfort for your clients?
That's absolutely correct. Our average length of employment right now is at 8 years. And our longest employment, Alvin's been with me for 21 years. He says he wonders if that means he can drink at work now. I told him not yet.
He should, though, with the problems he encounters.
Oh, yeah.
He's the big problem guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Alvin handles all our escalations.
I like Alvin. When I get on the phone with Alvin, I know it's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I hired Alvin straight out of college. He finished classes in Lafayette, and 21 years ago, and he has grown up to where he is now. And I prefer hiring people with little to no experience. And I like training up people because I'm looking more for personalities. I'm looking for the people that are dependable, that take their work seriously, that are looking at what's best for the customer at all times, because sometimes what's best for you guys may not be what we want to see, but it's what's best for you, so it's what we want to see. In terms of EOS, we implemented EOS 10 years ago now. We self-implemented.
Oh, wow.
And, you hear people core values and think the core values is kind of a corporate buzzword. Core values are so critical. Once you figure out your core values, and then you hire and fire on your core values, you promote on your core values, then you get your whole team on the same core values. That just creates such, in another corporate buzzword, synergy, but it just creates such a good environment for everybody to work at. They're happy, and that flows to the customers. I hear nothing but compliments from our technicians, from the customers about how well they're doing, how much they like to work with them. And our work environment is really good. My latest hire, she's been with me for 3 months. She's super excited to be with us. She's super grateful for the job, and she loves the work environment compared to the experiences she had prior. But it's not necessarily easy to find those people. Another role we hired, it took us 3 people to get there. And we're very quick to say it's not working out. We have a 90-day onboarding. We're very aggressive from day one in terms of a lot of trainings. We really push. We get them up to speed. Mm-hmm. And then at 90 days, it's like, it's just not working. And they know well in advance. They're trying to make it work. It's just not a good fit. We have dependability issues, things like that. So it's not all rainbows, but once we find that right person, we invest in them, we take care of them. The people say don't call it a family. In business, it's used incorrectly, but my staff really feels like it's a family. Family comes first. If your kid's sick, stay home, take care of them, that kind of stuff. That's the support we give each other that allows us to do our jobs well. Yeah,
the pendulum needs to swing both ways in regard to, I guess, how you treat employees and how they treat you. Mm-hmm. If an employee goes above and beyond and they're they're living the core values and they're doing everything. We have no problem with the flexibility that we give our employees, but where it becomes a problem, it becomes a one-way street, and they take your kindness for weakness, and all of a sudden they're not, they don't have the three that get it wanted capabilities, and you got to make those decisions. Implementation of the EOS system was difficult for us because we had been in business quite a number of years, and everybody came from different backgrounds, and everybody had the brand X mentality in their head from where they came from, and everybody was kind of doing their own thing. So you introducing us to EOS was an amazing opportunity for us to become aligned in what we're doing. And I would say it's probably one of the greatest things we've done as a company to make all our lives, and I'm going to be selfish here, my life easier, knowing that I have dependable folks. Everybody's rowing in the same direction to follow the goals we set up for the quarter and for the year. And we're going to go in that room and we're going to talk honestly about the issues. I'm not going to talk about, I hate Scott, I hate Bob. It's like, I don't like this thing. How can we fix this thing? And I like the fact that everybody has a say. Everybody gets to throw some ideas on the table, and we'll see what works. We'll try it. If it doesn't work, we'll go in another direction. That's been a beautiful growth for, I guess I call it an adolescent company moving into a young adult company as we are, especially in the oil and gas industry. So
yeah, when I started at EDC, it was me coming straight out of college. I had the biggest company I worked for was JCPenney as a runner. So, not really any experience on how to handle goals and strategy, different things like that. So EOS gave me the template on how to operate a larger company, a larger organization, and the accountability it introduced, everybody rowing in the same direction, like you mentioned, and the clarity. Everybody knows the goals for the year. They know their scorecard metrics for what they need to achieve. That's going to be most important, most beneficial for the business. And that has just helped us just align and get things done and grow as we needed to, and, just be a better business.
For you, I noticed that it has allowed you to truly be the visionary owner and continue to network with other peers in your industry. And you bring back that knowledge and information to your team, and you make EDC much bigger than it would be if that wouldn't exist. I see that as a huge benefit of the way you set up your organization. Absolutely.
My dad's retired CPA, and he was working for a large organization, worked for Finchmaker as CFO for years. And it blows his mind, our industry, IT industry, how open we are with each other. And the thing is, our industry changes so quickly. I can go tell my competitor exactly what I'm doing, and if they don't hustle, a year from now, that information is useless. And so with the peer group that I've discovered, I have, there's 8 companies in our peer group now. They're nationwide, they're separated. And the largest, companies in our peer group are probably hitting about 5 million gross revenue, maybe double our size. And I'm able to take from them advice and, things. I meet with them weekly. Every week we have an hour call that we coordinate and get lined up with. And then every quarter we go out in person, and I go to all their offices, met their families, so it's been huge that EDC, while we're in South Louisiana, our customers are getting the benefit of another 8 owners that are focusing on what's out there, what's coming up, what's coming down the pipeline, and keeping us abreast of that and ahead of everything, so that we can provide top-notch service.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. I found there was a few times in the last 5 to 6 years I was able to network with other business leaders, and every time that happens in an environment where people are really talking and really sharing, I come away with something really valuable to bring back over here. So there's no bad networking, especially when you can network with a group of peer companies that kind of share your troubles, and you can come back with a possible solution or a different way to make that widget work that you didn't find. That's really cool.
Our peer group is based off a book called The Go-Giver. It's a short little book, but talking about how you just help people out, and karma may come back and bring it, may not, but you made the world a better place by helping that person. And so I went to the first peer group meeting, and had just struggled with an IT problem or a problem within the business that it took me like 3 months to figure out how to solve. So as I'm sitting there working, I'm checking my email at a table, I hear the guy next to me say, man, I got this problem. And it's the exact same problem I had. And the guy next to him said, well, this is how you solve it. And he gave the exact same solution it took me 3 months to come up with. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, all the answers are here. I just saved some time. And, you know, I go in there very humble, I don't know all the answers. Please tell me. People give me ideas, and you pick the best one that works for you, and you go with it. And it just saves so much time, makes things so much faster. And then obviously I go back, I've done a SWOT analysis of all the peer group members in my peer group. I've come in, I've interviewed all their staff. I've just got to experience a depth of knowledge of IT leadership that I would never have gotten just doing my own business. And so it's been really wonderful and educational for myself.
That's extremely transparent right there, what you just described, having people that essentially compete in the marketplace talk openly about what's going on with their staff and let you talk to their staff. I can honestly say in the oil and gas industry, in our sector,
oh yeah, it's unique.
It doesn't
to IT.
happen.
Yeah,
it's unique to IT, and I think that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, yeah, and we're geographically diverse, you know. Mm-hmm. But at the same point, I trust all my peer members. If they were to open a location in my city, I'd be excited. It's like, great, we can collaborate even more, you know. Mm-hmm. So that's been good about that group of guys that I found in my peer group and gals.
Well, you talk about helping people, paying it forward. That's one of the most rewarding things in my whole career. The time I was able to put this person and this person together, or help them solve a problem, or just be of service to someone, that filled up my emotional bank account. And whether they pay me back some way or thank me, it doesn't matter, mm-hmm. because I feel better about it. Mm-hmm. So one of my, I guess my personal tricks is when I'm having a bad day, a bad week, I stop what I'm doing and I go find a way to build somebody else up about something they did. Mm. And I'm amazed of how much better I feel about what I'm doing when I go seek out a person that needs, maybe they did something cool and nobody said anything, or maybe they think nobody noticed. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is notice and be of service. And I guess that's the underlying theme. A great friend of mine, Tully Blanchard, and I spent an hour and 20 minutes talking recently on this particular podcast. And we talked a lot about mentoring and leadership and being of service every day, and how much it makes us feel better about our existence. We're in a very distracted world. The internet, you can watch every TV station in the world. You can watch every program on demand. You can binge watch 8 seasons if you want and drink a bunch of Red Bull and just not go to sleep. Whereas back some years ago, if you wanted to watch I Love Lucy, it was on Saturday night at 7:00, and you had to be in front of the TV a couple of minutes to 7. You powered through the commercials because you wanted to see what cereal was coming out and what prizes were in there, what toys were in there. And it was over. And you talked about it, but you didn't base your whole existence on social media or TV or I think the beautiful distraction for me of cutting grass once a week in the summer is wonderful, because there's nothing. It's just me and the lawnmower. The grass is high. Make a few passes. You look back, take a sip of water. I accomplished something, but there was no distractions and no noise. I think that's a stark difference in the reality we live on. And one of the things EOS has given me, it's given me back 15% of my day to concentrate on the clarity break that I need to have almost daily in order to figure out, have I done everything I needed to do? Okay, let's make a list of what I need to do tomorrow and the next day, and then I close it and put it away. And I can leave here and just concentrate on family and loved ones, and not be, and EOS has made everybody so accountable that back in the day, 10 years ago, my phone was ringing 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. We're dealing with emergencies. That doesn't happen anymore because we put the right people in the right seat over here. So,
I met Lannis through Boy Scouts, and Lannis and I went and did a 120-mile backpacking trip in New Mexico together. Yeah. And we had no cell service that whole time. And that 12-day break from the internet and from the constant news cycle and from everything was just phenomenal. Like, it was just so wonderful. There's even some major news events that happened while I was gone. And it was interesting for me to see the perspective of, like, it was a major Lafayette event had happened. It was all the buzz. Everybody was stressing about it. And it had died down in 3 days later. Basically, by the time I got back to civilization and learned about it, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I can't believe this happened. And everybody's kind of like over it. Like, it'd been 3 days and they were like, it was done. And it really made me appreciate how, like, in the moment, we get so worked up by all that information, and it gets, and then 3 days later, it was like, well, everybody's moved on and it's okay. I try to pull myself out of that moment now. Like, if I get worked up, or you try to say, like, is this going to really matter in a couple of days? Or are we going to forget about it? And so it's, if you can experience it, a 10-day break from civilization, was just, I remember we were day 10 on the trail, and some guys had just got on the trail at one of these places we were picking up food at. And the guy's like, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow? I was like, it's going to rain about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then it's going to stop. They'd done that for the last few days. I didn't know, and then, I was like, dude, you just got off on the trail. You have internet. I didn't. I haven't had internet in 8 days now. And so,
it might be cold. It might be raining.
Yeah, we're going to be
here. It happens.
Yeah. We're going to be here no matter what, Lance and I got caught in a hailstorm at the top of a mountain, and, you just roll with it. But that was a great experience I had of kind of disconnecting, and it's something I hope more people do. It's just so hard to turn that phone off. It's hard to say, hey, I'm not going to be available for X number of days, and just, Well,
the addiction is real. The algorithm wants you to be addicted. It wants your eyes on the screen. So the more you use it, the more it learns what you want. It keeps giving you what you want. So it's interesting how that's going to end up. I've watched some trauma response from teenagers when their phone gets taken away. You could swear you were cutting off their leg, and it's like, oh wow, why are you so upset? It's okay. Let's go touch grass. Let's do something else. But on a positive note, let's turn it back to the positive. On a positive note, Atlantis was able to share. Atlantis Bel Air, one of the owners of Pharma-Safe, and Scott is the one that took that Boy Scout marathon trip, and he shared quite a few stories of that trip with me. And it was such a beautiful experience for him and his boys, as it was for you. And even if you can't get away for 10 days, I encourage everybody to unplug for a weekend, 2 days, 1 day, one afternoon, whatever you have to do, because there's beauty in simplicity. And we run around nature every day, and there's beauty right here in Lafayette, wherever you live. Get out and touch grass, get out and do something fun with your kids, throw a ball, go on a hike, pick some flowers, do whatever you want to do. Start a little bonfire and roast some marshmallows. We made some s'mores this weekend. They were delicious. I had my grandkids over for 4 days. We made s'mores over a fire, and it was no better meal. It was beautiful.
I challenge you to turn your phone off for an hour, see what that feels like. I know when my phone gets low on battery, it doesn't faze me at all. If it dies, it dies. But some of my staff will see that and they go, oh my gosh, you only have 12%. Like, oh yeah, I forgot to charge it last night.
I can't leave the house with 12%. Where's my backup battery?
It doesn't faze me. I'll send a screenshot of somebody and it'll be low, and they're like, I can't get over your battery percentage on the side. I'm like,
they'll call you. Hey, plug in your phone, man.
Yeah, it's like at some point I'll get back to my car, I'll plug my phone in, it'll start working again. But we're talking an hour or two, and it's fine if I'm out of there for an hour or two. It's okay.
Well, cool. Well, Scott, I appreciate you being here. Is there anything else you want to talk about today?
I could mention a little bit about AI in business if you're interested. Or
no? I'll tee it up with a question. Scott, the buzzword of the last couple of years has been AI. We use it here. Let's talk about how that's going to affect business going forward.
AI is going to be a major disruptor to businesses as we're seeing it, and companies need to kind of keep a pulse on it. Otherwise, they're going to get left behind. Currently, the biggest benefit of AI is looking for small things you can use it to improve your day, improve your efficiency. Eventually, they talk about AI agents. So to kind of quantify that, there's AI right now. You log on to ChatGPT, you ask it a question, you ask it to generate a graphic for you, things like that. I've had one build a PowerPoint for me for an AI presentation. I had generated what one of my slides to say basically, and then said, create a PowerPoint for me. It threw pictures in 5 seconds I had the slide deck. Those are great tools. It saved me a good hour probably for getting ready for that presentation. The next step is workflows. So that's the next evolution of AI, where you're having one AI do this, another AI do this, a third AI do that, and you can automate that. So you can have one AI go grab news articles, let's say, another AI compile it into a document, a third AI post it on your webpage as a news as a newsletter or something. That's an example of a workflow. The ultimate stage is you have an AI create the workflow. That's an AI agent. So you have an AI say, hey, I would like you to go find 5 news sites, get articles, and go create a newsletter for me. And that agent will go find the AI, do all that for you. So that's kind of a real synopsis of where we're at right now in the industry. When you hear building AI agents, that's what people are talking about. It's probably far more advanced than most companies are going to work with right now. But people need to be aware of where AI can be used, learn about it, learn about security risks. Big things that we're seeing with AI, like you introduce AI into your document environment, and let's say you shared a private document with somebody via email, but you just use the link. They didn't have to log in to confirm. Well, you just set the permissions to open on that file. So now let's say someone in your organization is searching your files. They can probably pull up that document. It may contain sensitive information, but we're coming from the old days where it was buried in a folder 3-5 folders deep. No one's going to find that.
Yeah.
And that
You'd
doesn't
have to be
exist
Sherlock
anymore.
Holmes to find it.
Yeah, and that doesn't exist anymore. AI scours all of that. So as soon it's all based on permissions. We actually are now just rolled out with all our clients on security an AI that's monitoring the permissions, looking for those kind of things. So we're using AI to prevent AI from having problems. But so that's my advice on AI is don't shy away from it, learn it, because it's going to be moving quickly. It's going to move even faster. No telling what it's going to do to disrupt the economy as there's all kind of, doom, people calling on doom, but I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. But at the same time, it could really put your business behind if you don't try to keep up with it.
Yeah, it's definitely an efficiency helper. I think Andre, with the help of you guys, has protected us as best we can. But that's an interesting concept, the layering of AI, I guess, bots or chats to create and then managed by a AI overlord, the agent, doing actual tasks that a human would do, and in a human oversight. Man, you could have a whole business with one person. If you did that right, you could have an entire business run by one person with an AI agent and a bunch of AIs below it doing pretty efficient stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my prediction on AI is going to be very similar to the legal industry, the evolution I saw in that industry from the 90s to now. When I started working with lawyers, every lawyer had 2 secretaries and a paralegal working, so 3 employees per attorney. Those secretaries all had typewriters. There was a stack of typewriters in the back closet in case one broke, and the attorney would dictate on their tape recorder, and the secretary would type up that. Now the legal industry is about 0.6 employees, 0.3 employees, somewhere in there per attorney. They've essentially got rid of 3 jobs. That didn't happen overnight. It took 20 years to do it. So as basically staff aged out or retired, they just weren't replaced. And the attorneys came out of college knowing how to dictate. It types for them. They don't have to have a person doing it anymore. So I see AI doing something similar. I don't know what industry is going to happen or happen to all industries. But basically, we'll be able to get more work product out with less people and generate increased efficiencies. And so I see as people leave positions, they just might get refilled, and it'll probably there'll be new jobs springing up probably to manage these AIs, or double check them with a human view versus having an AI check an AI.
Well, for attorneys, I guess the money they saved in personnel, they can use it for billboards.
That's right.
So it helped the advertising industry.
That's
so
right.
It's just a movement of money.
Exactly. Yeah. It's still happening. There's just new jobs.
Drive down Highway 90.
Yeah.
I haven't been in an accident, but I want to call.
I know. You probably know the number by heart.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Scott. I appreciate talking to you today. Can't say enough about your team and about the partnership. And it's been a good thing, man.
Oh yeah, we really enjoyed working with you guys. We love having. We consider our customers partners more, and we only work with the best, in my opinion. And so we're really glad to be working with you guys.
Thanks, Scott. Have a good day, buddy.
You too.